So welcome to Spatial Jam. Thanks for coming, everybody. We're really excited about this. We've been planning it for quite a long time. And spatial, obviously, new word, but been around for a long time. We are, some of you may know us already, some of you may not. I'm Caroline. I'm the Community Engagement Manager at the MediaCity Immersive Technologies Innovation Hub. And we're based here in this building at MediaCity. And we are a project funded by UK government to kickstart innovation in immersive tech and creative industries. And we're a partnership with University of Salford, MediaCity, and Salford City Council, led by City of Salford. So really glad to be here. And what we really wanted to ask of you, which is really interesting, is Manchester has obviously biggest sort of ad industry next to London. So there's a lot of augmented reality that's gone on here. There's a lot of expertise in this space. It's probably the second biggest place in the country for this. And we knew there'd be a lot of people interested in what the future is going to be. There's been a bit of disillusionment in the past about AR. There's some things where it's been really successful and some things where it hasn't quite taken off. The Apple Vision Pro has really sort of enlivened this space. And so there's some cynics sitting on the fence thinking, oh yeah, maybe not. But either way, it is really getting us to ask some really interesting questions. So that's what tonight is all about. So we've got some great speakers for you. One thing we really wanted to ask as well is, with Manchester having that sort of centre of gravity, what's coming out of here that could also be maybe a platform in itself? We've got these really big players like Google and Niantic and Apple with their huge spaceship headsets taking all the fees, but is there anything coming out of here where there's a more democratic way of making content and maybe getting direct to people and making better content? And we've seen some of those solutions, and so we just wanted to bring people together and have a bit of a chat about that. So format of tonight is we're going to have some great talks. We've got Keith Myers, who has been working in this space for a very long time. And he works as part of the Game Tech 365 program downstairs, and also does a lot of work in his own right in heritage and in other areas, and is technically really incredible at all of this stuff. We've also got the wonderful Mike and Ben, who are going to be talking about their platform, which they're building. They're also based here. And they have brought the gift of the Apple Vision Pro, which some of you will have a chance to try a little bit later. And unfortunately, not everybody's going to get to have a go, so it's going to have to be selective. What we're going to do is we're going to have a number-based system. So you've all signed up. Did everybody brief you when you came in? Yeah. So I'm going to be the person who picks some numbers, and you'll all get to have a go. But you will see it in action. And these are going to become a lot more commonplace over the next few months. And then we have Jimmy and Alistair. Where are you? Yay! And they're going to talk about Feed AR, which they are working on, which is some really exciting ways as well in which they're getting content out there and getting in front of people. This is a little bit about our project. So we are one of 3 regions where they've decided to invest in Manchester, Birmingham, Glasgow, and we are funding 15 different projects, which are all really, really exciting future of kind of projects. And we'll be talking a lot about them in the next few months. And this is our team. So feel free to grab any of us in the t-shirts if you need anything. If you want to sign up, we are going to have some lightning talks a little bit later on. So everybody might have heard of that. If you want to get up and pitch, or you've got an opportunity, you can just grab anyone with a t-shirt. And probably me would be the best person, and I'll just take the title of your talk as well, and you can stand up at the end. So this is our 6th event here at MediaCity. And this is one of our jams. We've had lots of different events, and they all look at different sorts of futures. We've had one around AI Gen, which is becoming old hat now, but at the time was really, really, really new. We've had a general XR jam. We've had one on funding, and we've had some specialist things as well for animation sectors and virtual production. And really, we're just trying to bring people together around new tech, new questions, new ways of doing things. And if you have any ideas of anything you'd like to see, let us know. And we would love to work with you on that. And these are the areas we generally work in. And yeah, so lightning talks again. Any questions that come up, whether you want to pitch anything, grab me and I will take your name, and you'll have about 2 to 4 minutes. And worth mentioning as well as these events and our funding program, we also want to build a community and are building a community. So we keep everyone updated on different funding that's out there, whether you've got your own project, whether you want to collaborate with people. There's also lots of great events going on. There's some brilliant ones at the end of the month. There's some great ones on tomorrow and any other opportunity. And if you want to share that with the network as well, just email us and let us know, and we'll send this out on all our socials and newsletters and all that stuff. And you can follow us on LinkedIn, on Instagram, on Discord. So if you scan this or you find these around the room, you can follow us there and comment and share everything about tonight. So that's it from me. Couple of housekeeping things as well, in case you don't know. Toilets, if you need them, are going to be just out here towards the end. Fire exit is this way. Thank you very much. And enjoy the night and enjoy the demos. And thank you very much for coming. I am now going to pass you over to the lovely Keith, who is going to delve into the future of spatial.
Okay, so I'm just swapping the presentations over. Give me a second to do that. Okay. So where is spatial computing heading? That's what I want to try and answer together, because we've heard of this new technological term that is now emerging, but do we have to redefine the way we work? This beautiful picture kind of epitomizes the Vision Pro device. If you have a go, you'll be able to see these different screens. So far, I've tried a hell of a lot of different technologies, and this one has actually blown me away quite a bit. I was very surprised at that, and I've only tried that this evening, and I was genuinely took aback. Actually, I can see now where this future could go. I was a little bit skeptical at first when I was hearing what Apple were doing and the way they were going and trying to redefine what I would argue is virtual reality. So a little bit about me. I've been working in this space since 2015. I've probably made over 50 VR and AR projects and film projects, and I'm very interested in how we can use different technologies for a different outcome. So I'm very much looking at XR as a tool, as a actual thing that we can use to make an experience for a client or a customer. But I've also trained hundreds of people, probably over 1,000 now, to be honest with you, on boot camps at universities on actually how to make this technology. And I'm really trying to bring my experience in this sector to bear and trying to say, well, actually, we can use this technology to do certain things, but there's some limitations to what we can actually do it for as well. So I run an organisation as well called Immersive Manchester. I also work with GameTech 365. I'm a partner for Host as well, so I'm wearing quite a few different hats. But I'm really focused on heritage as an output because it's my passion and what I love doing. However, those who work in heritage might understand that there's not that much funding all the time. So you've got to try and balance that out and work across different technology streams. These are some of the technologies that we've been using. So things like Blender for 3D rendering, the Unity game engine. So I'm very much in the Unity 3D camp. Has anyone used a game engine in the audience before? Okay, so it's become in the consciousness now of, and certainly technology. You're either usually a Unity developer or a Unreal developer. I would argue there's Godot as well and others as well. Those are the two main camps. So using these technologies, really, I'm more concerned about what they can do as opposed to the technology that itself. So for me, the Apple device is amazing because I can see the potential of this. Now, that ties into my own goals of trying to connect people to heritage and history. And again, it's just really about the technology. And the question I always consider is why we should care about the world we live in. Because I think if we take it from the perspective of this is the thing we want to achieve, then the technology will just be a part of that. I was having a really interesting conversation in the lobby before coming in. It was really refreshing to somebody else to say that they also agree with this. And for me, it's not really about the hype of the Vision Pro or the Meta Quest 3. It's really about what we can do with it. And I actually think we can actually make experiences that bring people closer together by connecting them to their own heritage. But let's take a step back. So Apple are saying, I just want to read this ad lib really, that spatial computing blends digital content with the physical world, providing an infinite canvas that enables businesses to reinvent workspaces and enhance everyday productivity. With Vision OS, apps are freed from the boundaries of a display, so they can appear side by side at any scale. That's kind of the, technical explanation and what we're trying to untangle here. But are we talking about virtual reality? Are we actually already doing this? We've seen Meta Quest 3 introduce their own technology. So what's the difference? Well, if we actually look what's been going on, we've had this synonymous technology term, augmented reality, but it's been redefined. So we're thinking about XR technology as an umbrella tool. So we're thinking about technologies that sit underneath this. We've got augmented reality, we've got virtual reality, we've got mixed reality, but then all of a sudden we've got spatial computing. If you think about Facebook, they rebranded to Meta, and then they started to put this term forward, the metaverse. So I think we just need to be very kind of careful and skeptical about this technology as we move forward. We've all seen these influencers running around with these crazy headsets, and I think some of them were driving Elon Musk's car, and they were, getting in trouble in the United States. So I've not seen anyone. Has anyone seen anyone in Manchester walking around with these? No, because probably not got enough access to the tech yet. And that's also an issue, isn't it? Because what Apple are doing is they're keeping hold of the technology. They're making it very special for you to get hold of the technology, which is about controlling that ecosystem. And when our other speakers come on in a little while, they'll tell you about what they're doing to try and fight back against that. In terms of what's going on a wider field, so we've seen Apple adding support for WebXR. I've coded with WebXR before. It can be quite messy. We've seen support with AWS or Amazon Web Services now, and we've seen, unfortunately, Mozilla Hubs shutting down. Has anyone used Mozilla Hubs before? So you have, yeah. So Mozilla Hubs is really interesting because you can create experiences, shared spaces, and these kind of things. But Google's now expected to come into this space as well with their Samsung headset as well. So we're starting to see other companies push forward in this space. If you're interested in a fund that's available, then take a note of that link. So Meta have released a fund So if you're a developer or you're looking to make an experience, then they have funding available, but obviously you've got to apply, go through that process. So take a picture of that link if you want to. If you want me to send that link later on as well, just let me know. But again, should we think about our relationship? Is it spatial computing? Is it virtual reality? And if we think about the challenges of technology right now, then we need to think about how democratic it is, because there are a number of barriers. I mean, I was speaking to a few of you earlier on, developing apps for the iOS or the Apple Store, and what's now happening is that they're making me jump through different hoops to try and get on the App Store just because of their Vision Pro. So they're actually making it more difficult now for me as a developer to make things. Now, I think that's a bit of a problem, because that's then adding further barriers. And you could argue, is this actually going to be democratic? So there are a number of challenges that we still face with this technology. I don't think necessarily that the new device or spatial computing is going to take care of that. So I'm really concerned about how we can enable a fairer way of that technology. And really, could Manchester be a space for that? So that's an interesting question. I think there's some people in this audience that I know who've been talking about what they're doing that actually I think it could be. But we have to be careful again, because we've been here before. We've got metaverse. Obviously, AI has taken over the last sort of 12 months. Is this a phase? Are we going to redefine spatial? I would guess that in 5 to 10 years' time that we'll be using another term. It'll be something else. Obviously, we've got XR, extended reality. We're just talking about all this technology because we've been here before. We've got, obviously, Tom Hanks with the Google Glass. That was, over 10 years ago? Something like this now, 12 years ago. We've had the metaverse. Everyone was getting very excited about the metaverse. Usually a lot of people that were into marketing, but it's an interesting concept to try and frame it. And spatial computing is a very similar concept to try and frame it. We had Magic Leap 1, Magic Leap 2, and I always say this, but where is my whale? Because I always seen these promotion videos with these beautiful whales jumping through the gymnasium floor. I was like, I want a whale. Where's my whale? And I never got the whale. So, and it was like, what? 80 million per funding round, so 160 million. I don't know the exact figures, don't quote me on that, but it's a lot of money they spent. And actually, Rob Scott, who's here, he did a thing when they came to VR Manchester a while ago, I think, didn't they? And they were talking about their platform a couple of years ago, and I don't think it was very open, should we say, arguably. So yeah, that's another problem with this technology. So everyone's creating their own version of this ecosystem, and I think that's a huge problem. Obviously, as well, we've got to mention Microsoft Mixed Reality because they had funding pulled, although there's an independent community now. So where we're going, I think, I would argue from my experience in working in XR technology, is that we're going to see mixed reality become more widespread. It's going to be more ubiquitous. We're going to start to see what I call Google's immersive maps. Well, I don't call it, but that's what's actually being made by Google. And we're going to start to see these shared experiences grow and proliferate. I think there's an opportunity for heritage. And I think that in the next 5 to 10 years' time, we're going to see the education system shift considerably with this technology, because why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you want to go to a fantastical world to learn about something in science if science isn't your thing? Likewise, if you can go and see a play, a Shakespeare play or something like this, and you can be immersed in that play, I think that's really, really exciting. And does this harbour at the end of the TV? These are other questions we need to ask. These technologies aren't in isolation, of course. We've also got other technologies that are converging at the same time. I think the big one there is AI machine learning, but spatial computing does add a different dynamic. And if we think about that initial question, where we're heading, then I think, having now tried the device myself this evening, I think we're actually heading for something quite exciting. I was very sceptical. I was very sceptical as a technology person myself. I'm always very careful about the tech, but actually I think there's a lot of exciting things going to happen with this. If you do want to reach out to me, then please get in touch. I'm really interested in teaching people, helping people learn about the technology and collaborating. And that's me. Thank you very much. And here it is. This way it came. Okay, Rob, stop it. Now, what do you want? I'll just get Mike's presentation up as well. It's very short and sweet, this presentation. It's like, here's the apple. Oh, we're going to try and stream this, aren't we? I forgot about that. We're actually going to do a live, the first live stream in Manchester, I think. So we claim that in Greater Manchester. In this building.
I'll put it on in a second, but I'll just say hello first. Hi. Me and Ben, who's at the back there, do you want to wave, Ben, so everyone knows who you are? We run a company called Beam XYZ. We're building a product called Spatial, which we will tell you a little about. I can probably show you a bit through this, which would be cool. And I think there is a raffle where I'm going to do some demos with the lucky people to get to use this after. Oh, can you hear me better now? There you go. So this might take a second to set up, so bear with me, but I'm going to just stream a bit of an experience of using it, some of the apps, and you should get a bit of a feel for how it all works. And as Keith and Caroline saw earlier, it's pretty mind-blowing when it starts working.
So I'm going to get on try and do it now. So
yeah.
We'll try and see how this goes. It worked well before. So it should come up as a notification. This is an Apple device communicating with an Apple device. This should be seamless. So if I come out of presentation mode, just in case, because that's Microsoft interfering.
I'm sure the pictures of this are going to haunt me in years.
I think it's going to be beautiful. You need the number, don't you, when it comes up? Okay, so here we go. You ready? Wow, look at that.
Right, so everyone can see my screen.
See this, yeah?
Yeah?
Yeah.
So it starts, you've got this thing called the digital crown here.
Do you want to give
Wherever you are.
Yeah, do you want to take this?
Try and do two things. So wherever you are, you can push the digital crown, brings up your menu. You simply pinch to swipe and move around like that. So it's super responsive. Load something like Safari. If I look at the base of it, here you see this bar, I can pinch and grab that, and I can just move it around wherever. And what's cool is, one, it casts a shadow. I don't know if you can see that on the screen, but it makes it feel really believable. And two, the screens kind of stay in place, so you can start to create a room filled with photos, with videos. So your actual canvas, I guess, that you create can start to be the whole room and space around you, which is cool. I'll move this over here just to show you an immersive photo. Again, won't appear too immersive for you, but you'll get an idea of what it's like. I'm now inside the theatre of dreams. I think they call it the theatre of screams these days, but you can see with that, again, just all the panoramic photos you might have taken in the past can become really immersive, really usable, I guess. So for those people like me who took lots of panoramic photos, they're now actually useful. Again, tap the cross, you can get rid of it. I can tap the cross on there, get rid of that. And you can start to see, there's all the standard Apple apps. Freeform is actually, it becomes almost a whiteboard, I guess. So I can, let's try and write on this.
And how does it compare to the Quest 3, would you say?
So we've got a Quest 3 as well, and I think the pass-through is the biggest difference. There's just not the same quality coming through on the Quest 3. Whereas the pass-through here is almost believable. I can see the expression on people's faces. You can read your screens. If I pull my phone out, I can read what's said on there. So it's definitely a step up, I guess, from the Quest 3. Some of the other experiences to show you. The jig space, I don't know if anyone's used this before on the Quest, but I can grab this Formula One car. It takes a second to load, but again, place it there, and suddenly we've got a full-size Formula One car, and you can pick this apart. I can grab bits of it, move them around, stick that over there. And if you use two hands as well, you can move it, resize it. So again, you just get that real cool feel for modeling and using different objects and stuff. So you can imagine for education how cool that's going to be. AirDraw, I don't know if any of you have used this before. Effectively allows me to draw in free space. And I guess the cool thing about the Apple compared to the Quest is it gives you this full canvas. Like this whole room becomes a canvas within it, which I can draw. So I could go right to the other end of the room, and the drawing, I guess, is continuous to there. The coolest thing, which I can't actually show on here, is probably the Apple Immersive video. Just the feeling you get whilst you're in there, it really feels like you're in the destination. There's a very cool MLS video, the American soccer stuff. So when we're doing the demos later to the people who get selected, we'll probably show you some of them, which is really cool. I'm going to try and show you a bit about the platform we're building now using the product. So hopefully, I'm not sure how well this will show through, but can everyone see that screen, or is it a bit pixelated? So the platform we're building is called Spatial. It's a spatial experience creation platform. Allows professionals to easily create and deploy AR experiences easily and cost effectively. Currently in develop, but it's a cloud-based application where we've got a series of microservices that are connected to it. So number one is sort of this free-form canvas where you can connect pages to spatial experiences. So kind of like Webflow, you can build out your page-by-page flow, then connect it to a spatial experience. The spatial editor itself, as Keith was talking about the Google Immersive Map stuff, we're planning to totally take use of that, so you can place objects in maps and create fully location-driven experiences. We've got a page editor, kind of works like a combination of Canva meets Webflow, something like that, so you can actually create the experience towards it. We've got a location pinner, so you can pin assets to locations. And then we've also got a reward mechanism where you can pin content, crypto, integrated with voucher codes, things like that. But effectively gives you a full end-to-end ability to create a solution where you can find AR experiences at different locations, but also access content, rewards, things like that. So we're in development with this platform now, probably 3 to 4 months from having something we can show and launch. But if anyone is interested in it, my email is on the bottom of one of the slides we'll go back to after this. Feel free and we can arrange a demo. If anyone wants to collaborate, we're really keen to work with companies in the area who are doing similar stuff. So I think that is everything. The final bit to show you is probably the environment. So obviously this is in pass-through mode. If I spin the dial on top, you can see I am now at Yellowstone, which is pretty cool.
It's much easier than the Quest, isn't it, to do that as well?
You can jump around these environments really easily. So if I want to put myself on the moon, I just tap it, and suddenly I'm on the moon. And it's as easy as spinning this dial just to remove the immersion. So yeah, I've really enjoyed using the Apple Vision Pro since we got it. It's certainly not an everyday device yet. I think we've probably done more demos than we've done productive work using it. But we're hoping over the next few months, as we start to deploy experiences, that we'll be using it a lot more in testing and stuff, and hopefully we can show you guys some of it today as well. So thank you.
Thank you.
Back to the real one.
Just before you sit down, can I just ask you, just what is the goal of your platform? Because I just want to touch on that. Really.
So at the moment to create AR experiences, mixed reality experiences, there's a high cost barrier, particularly for organizations looking to use it. So we're trying to reduce the cost barrier for companies who want to build things in AR, for agencies, marketing agencies, stuff like that. So that's effectively our goal, is just to reduce the time, cost, talent barrier to launching experiences. Yeah.
In Manchester. Well done.
In Manchester, exactly.
Well done. Thank you. Round of applause. And we'll have Jimmy next, please. Is it Jimmy next? Let's just check the order. It is Jimmy, sorry. Sorry, Jimmy. Amazing. Looking forward to this one as well. You can use the lectern if you want to, and just... Yeah, okay. Good man.
Hello. Right, hi. Sorry. I need to make sure I get the volume correct. That's very difficult to come on after the Apple Vision Pro. So, like, whatever I do now is not going to be able to compete. At the same time, I'm hoping the fact that you'll forget whatever I do because you'll just talk about that instead. Anyway, I'm coming from a company called VDR. So, like, we're a technology company. Is that?
Use that one.
You sure?
Yeah.
Okay, fine. Right. So we focus on the experiences that are created through the technology rather than the technology itself. And so for us, mixed reality is fantastic as it creates a technology that becomes increasingly transparent and visible. So it becomes more about the experience rather than the technology itself. So it's like you're able to interact with it naturally, not having to learn anything. There are no special tools to learn. You just basically use what you already know. VDR originally came out of a project run by me and us about 5 years ago, where they were creating augmented reality applications for trains, for public transport. So in the same way that we now experience streaming videos when we go onto the trains, like to reduce the perceived travel time, that we might be able to have augmented reality experiences that not only entertain us, but maybe tell us a little bit about the places that we pass on our journey. And at the time, 5 years ago, that seemed a bit like a long way off. But in a very short space of time, the technology's evolved rapidly, and some of the ideas that we were coming up with and experimenting with then have very much become a reality. We use WebXR, so like we champion WebXR so like as a platform, as a tool for experimenting with different ideas, because we're trying to avoid lock-in to platforms like Apple Vision Pro and stuff like the Meta Quest. I've been waiting to see the Apple Vision Pro for years. We've been predicting what it's going to be able to do for years. And if we've been waiting for Apple to give us the tools we need to create the ideas and concepts that we've got, we'd be starting from square one. But because we've been using WebXR as a platform, we've been able to sort of like mock up and prototype a lot of the ideas that we've got and get an early start on what the concepts might be even before we get access to the kit. So try and talk with little practical examples in some of the projects that we've successfully applied WebXR to. One of the best ones is working with Aardman, sort of like, both because it's very creative, but also I love Shaun the Sheep. And WebXR for me is not just about sort of like the end product, but it's also the fact it really accelerates creativity, exploration, discovery, because it accelerates every single part of the production process. So with each of these steps, there is a feedback loop of some kind. So you might be coming up with ideas as a team, and those ideas need to be tested, and then we sort of like develop a small concept, and they go back to the team, and then they'll feed back, and then a decision will be made. With WebXR, we're able to accelerate every single feedback loop and make more decisions faster, and we become more informed. And even the feedback loop with users, because it's web-based and we've got a fast, rapid turnaround, we can get feedback from the users quite quickly, maybe even respond to feedback in the moment, like a feature request, we can actually respond on the fly. So this is the team, and it's quite broad. We've got everyone from creatives to research to technical, and we all worked very, very collaboratively together, even though this was mid-COVID lockdown. So like this was actually the end of the project, and we only actually met all of us together sort of like in the last couple of weeks. But because of COVID, we were having to work collaboratively through things like Zoom and Miro boards through the web, and so using WebXR as a production means to create prototypes was really, really effective. The actual project itself was called Shaun the Sheep Immersive, and their idea was that they wanted to reach new audiences in China, so like they wanted to launch their brand, their IB, to a bigger audience, make it as accessible as possible, but also explore new technologies and ways to make that experience interactive. So instead of just being a film that is kind of handcrafted frame by frame, something that people could react with in real time. And WebXR was actually a really effective tool for us to experiment with different ways of doing that. So at the time, Aardman had done a project called The Big Fix-Up, and that was a native application launched through the App Store and Google Play. And having listened to Keith, and the headaches that he has now working with the App Store, I'm glad that we didn't go down that route. But what we were proposing was there were multiple benefits of using the web, and it was about the accessibility. It made it easier for us to get out, so we didn't have to deploy through these gatekeepers, but it made it easier for people to access as well. They didn't have to be brought to the App Store. They didn't have to make that big commitment of downloading an application before they even were given any form of reward. And once they were in the experience and they had some sort of success, they could easily share it out with other people. And they might be able to board easily, so it became a collaborative experience because it was all based on web technologies. So leaning towards that accessibility, we were looking at things like accessible gameplay, so very casual gameplay, and reasons why people might be compelled to share. So whether it be like a high score you want to beat, or the fact that you want a friend to help you on a task, or the feel that there was some sort of urgency, like some sort of disaster to avert. And so what was created was a blueprint, and this blueprint is called the Accidental Sheep Delivery Service. And because Sean the sheep is the accident-prone, lovable person that we know and love, he ends up in the middle of China, lost, surrounded by a set of packages that he might have been responsible for kind of getting lost in the middle of nowhere and feeling like being the helpful little soul that he is, he feels like he needs to get them to their final destination. So the game becomes the process of helping Sean deliver packages to different locations around China. And using WebXR, we were able to really rapidly put this together. We were able to create these really modular little experiences that fulfilled every single step of that user journey. And we're able to swap them out really, really effectively. The advantage of using web technologies for doing this was that we could leverage the web APIs when they were available, so a device had that capability, and so provided an augmented reality solution, or it would degrade gracefully and create something that could be kind of accessed on a low-end device. So there's no kind of barrier there's no kind of barrier that the user had to meet in order to join in the experience. They didn't need to have an iOS device or an Android device, or they didn't have to have the latest handset. And it was also accessible no matter what media channel they're on. So we learned early on that WeChat was really, really popular in China, and if we didn't embrace that as a platform, we'd really struggle to get traction. And once we came up with the framework, we could then create lots of different ideas. So, how many different ways can you make a game using a balloon? Well, it turns out, actually, loads of different ways. And these are all the different concepts that we created, whether they're physics-based, something where you had to blow into the phone, or move your head to try and bounce the balloon off the ground. So I'll just create a video, because the video's more, I'll play the video because the video's more effective. It's very fast. If you want to see a slowed down version, you come and see me after. But these were all using a single platform. Very fast and fluid. Most of these prototypes put together in about a day because of the fast turnaround. And that includes the time sending the link out to the creative, for the team for validation and coming back for change requests. So having proven that WebXR was an effective tool to help us during the ideation, during the design process, it was then the question was, well, can it meet Aardman's expectations in terms of polish, fidelity? Because Aardman has got his brand to protect. We can't put something out that's below standard, otherwise it will damage. Sorry. Let's go off in 10 minutes. I'll try and go fast. We had to also prove that WebXR would meet their high standard that was required for the brand. And so the challenge was to create 2 characters using WebXR. And the first was a new character, which is actually quite fortunate, and I'll explain why in a second. But the first one was just a character that would be someone that Sean would meet on his journeys. And so we had a lot of creative freedom in terms of how we responded to the brief. If web couldn't quite meet the standard required, then we could take some shortcuts. But as it was extremely effective. And what we learned along the way was sort of things like, well, what does it need to look like so that a reward can pop on a background? And what quality does the model need to be for it to be rich? And what sort of interactions can we have that are smooth and rewarding and satisfying? The most challenging was Sean because of things like his wool and the way that he moves. It's very, very subtle, but because this is an established kind of body language in the way that he moves, if an imposter came in and didn't act quite the way that Sean that behaves, it'll feel like a Walmart ripoff. It'll feel like the Walmart version. And so really that was really, really challenging, but WebXR gave us this platform that we could respond really quickly and make iterations and changes, and we actually cracked it, and it works really, really well. If you want to see a version, I'll show you afterwards. But here's a quick video of the things we put together. So this is the drag and all the different interactions. We've got a 2D version, a 3D version, and this is the final version. This is all running in the web on a browser. It's really, really smooth. It's quite rewarding to play with. This is some wool we mocked up and the actual Sean character. And it's mimicking the ways that stop-start motion animators would animate the character. But it feels it's all been done in real time. So we are geeks. I am a geek, so like, no matter how much I work with people like Hardman, I can't hide the fact I'm a geek. And for us, WebXR is a fantastic tool for creating. Ooh. Sorry, that's on the slide. I've seen a prettier version of that slide. It must be an old version. Right, so the reason why we like the web is the fact it's the situation where we can't lose when we use it. If we're working with a client that's insisting on having a native application at the end, or not too sure if they're going to have a native application at the end, we can still use web very effectively for the prototyping process. And the amount that we learn on the way and the number of problems we overcome, sort of like during that fast iteration cycle, is really, really effective to the whole project. And also to me it means about accessibility is mentioned already. The problem with stuff like native is you're committed to the platform, not just in terms of locking to the App Store, but also in terms of the knowledge. You have to commit yourself to either learn Kotlin or Swift or C# or C++ or Blueprint. And the advantages in web is the fact that you've got a common tech stack, language, models that can be transferred easily from one platform to another. And there's no lock-in in particular as long as you plan the projects effectively. We've had projects run on 8th Wall, which we've then switched over to something else. If you are interested in trying WebXR yourself, I highly recommend 8th Wall. There's no code editor. It's an online code editor. You can clone one of their existing projects. You can switch out the assets. And there are these really great marketing campaigns running on 8th Wall that really beautiful, bright, engaging, that run everywhere without any installation. So looking at the future, stuff like keyword that's already been mentioned, and that's spatial, and it's the fact that this technology is becoming more mature. And one of the things that we're looking to do is creating the tools that allow people to create content for it for multiple channels. And with that, we're creating, as mentioned before, in terms of platforms that are required, we are looking at creating a CMS system that allows people to create content for spatial interactions. And the advantage of using WebXR is the CMS itself is incredibly accessible. It can be accessed through either virtual reality headset, desktop, or is augmented reality. And we've been creating projects already that utilize this technology to create different outputs. So this is a project for Garden House. It's a gallery, and you could interact with this content either in situ in the gallery using your mobile device, no app needs to be installed to learn more about a picture or find another artwork that's related to the artwork that's in the gallery space. VR, so this is if you're not in the gallery, so like you're at home, you can access a virtual reality version and be guided around it and still discover all the artwork that's there. And what we got for free, which was a nice little bonus for the client, was we got a headset version as well, which we'd made no commitment to whatsoever, but they were absolutely blown away with and looked fantastic on the video at the end of it. So here's just a quick video. Anyway, and that brings us to where we are now. And one of the reasons we're in MediaCity, we're attracted by the innovation that's happening here, and we're looking to the future to create products of our own. We've been helping clients for like last 4 or 5 years explore augmented reality and learn what you can do, and we're wanting to take that experience to create products of our own now, so like create some of our own IP. And we're very excited about what's happening here at this point right now, and some of the amazing people we've been meeting that are also interested in exploring the capabilities of spatial mixed reality, whatever you want to call it. Anyway, I'm just going to finish on a quick snapshot of some of the projects we've created using web XR, web augmented reality. But you can speak to me afterwards if you're interested. Oh, sorry. Try again. I must say this wasn't WebXR, but that's the only exception.
Can you tell us a bit about what this is, Jimmy?
This, I've got time, I felt like I was running out. All right, so this is our current passion project. In fact, I maybe should get Alistair to, do you want it? No, he doesn't, he's shaking his head. I think he's been shamed enough anyway, because that's his face. So that's Alistair. He doesn't want to stand up. That's him, that's his big head. But the idea is the fact that this interactive this interactive toy was created using a scan of his face that was captured on a phone using the web browser. And we're looking at little interactive games that we can create using these big heads as the main vehicle. And so we're trying to take everything we've learned about creating engaging, fun experiences that people can access anywhere and turn it into something that is our own. And that's what we're getting support here from MediaCity.
Well done. Just before you go, Jimmy. Just ask you a question before you go, Jimmy. So that was amazing. So is it fair to say then you're trying to allow other people to access this technology? You talked about accessibility. Can you just give us a brief point on that, please?
Okay, a quote. Yes, so accessibility, I think, sorry, I did say I was going to try and beat time. I said as soon as I get my phone, I'm going to close that alarm. In terms of accessibility, I think it's talked about in some numerous contexts, but it's accessibility for the users so they can access it on a device. It's accessibility for the developers so they're not kind of excluded and they have to learn a particular, they can carry over their existing skill set. It's accessibility for clients so they can easily sort of like test and explore what's possible with sort of like their IP. So web really gives that to us.
Perfect, amazing. So essentially you've had two companies talk about how they're democratizing this space, and I think that's really powerful and important. They're both in Manchester and they're both doing amazing work. So yeah, I think you're in the right space. And I think once we start thinking about spatial computing and the possibilities, then we can start untangling this. We don't have to go through necessary app stores, although obviously Apple and other tech companies are going to try and force you down that route. And if we can find a way around that, I think that's really interesting. So I just wanted to underline that point. Caroline.
Great, thank you very much. Hopefully lots of thoughts there. So we have a few people signed up to do some lightning talks. Does anyone have a burning desire to stand up and do, and it's just struck them that they've got something amazing to say that they need to share? We're going to get our first speaker up, and if you do think you'd like to get up, and even if you're just really informally, you know, you'd like to say what you do, you've got something you want to share, this is your stage. So I'm just going to hover around the back there if you want to grab me, and you can come up. But first of all, we're going to get Simon Benson up here. And Simon works for the Infor Group, who are also based in this building. And he's going to talk a little bit about their program, Game Tech 365.
How long have we got?
About 3 minutes.
No problem, right. So I'll be quick. So hopefully most of you, well, a lot of you might know me, those that don't. I've been doing immersive technology since the 1990s. Video games since just before year 2000, and a specialist consultant in this field of immersive technology, interaction, game tech, whatever you want to call it, for about the last nearly 10 years now. Supported lots of businesses and things like that. We've created a new program and community called Game Tech 365. It's not for just video game people at all. It's about anyone who uses the things that we associate that coming from the games industry, like game engines. We'd classify WebXR as the same thing. If you do app development, anything like that that's in that thing. We couldn't find a good collective term because there just isn't one, so we're using Game Tech. So Game Tech 365 is a community available to anyone who is a professional using that kind of technology. If you want to sign up, gametech365.com will take you there. You'll get an expression of interest form, fill it out. There's no cost to joining that community. It's just a community. It's there to help everyone just have that self-supporting environment. We feed all sorts of in there to let you know what events are going on, where the funding's at, try and answer your questions, try and connect you to people, do all that kind of stuff. That's available to anyone nationally. In addition to that, we have some funding. So we've managed to get a program together that's specifically restricted to the Greater Manchester area. So if you've got a business or you work within the Greater Manchester area, you're entitled to join that program. Fully funded, again, there's a sign-up process. You can get it from the same thing, gametech365.com, you'll find it from there. But that is a very, very tailored program. So if you're busy, you don't have to do anything. You don't have to attend any sessions or anything. There's no pressure on you whatsoever. It's designed to fit around your business. And what we try and do is listen to what you need. We try and do a lot of events and networking so you can connect within the industry, connect to other people across these different industry sections and learn from other segments as well. And whatever we hear is what your needs are. We try and put content in there for you. So tailored workshops, tailored events, things like that to help you along with your business. That could be from anything from how do I structure my business from start up a new startup. It might be something about IP. It might be something in technical. It might be something about what's the latest tools. What should I be using in Gen AI that makes sense, that's actually going to help me rather than me just trying to figure it out myself. Whatever your questions are, we'll try and get a program in as quickly as we possibly can to help you get over that hurdle and others that are in the same sort of position. So really, really flexible, and again, no commitment required. You don't have to be there for 12 weeks every Tuesday or whatever. It's not like that at all. It's much more flexible, and it's a 12-month thing. So that's how long that runs for. There's loads of opportunity there, and so far we've got quite a few people in the hands up in the room if you're on the program already that you can talk to. There's a few people in here that are on the program already. So ask the people and find out what their experiences are. It's been very positively received, and yeah, doors are open now. We only launched it about a few weeks ago, so very, very new, and it's based out of this building, but most things are delivered remotely, so you don't even have to come in if you don't want to. And all the facilities we have here as well are available for use within the program and things like that as well. So lots and lots of stuff going on, but the fundamentals is it's a community, it's something that listens to you and tries to satisfy your need without burdening you, and it's just to help everyone around make this place the best place to be for anything to do with interactive, immersive tech, metaverse, XR, whatever it is, all that kind of stuff. Basically, the MediaCity being the beacon, the epicenter of everything to do with the way we all know that media is going, which is all this interactive world. So that's enough from me. Come and see me. Rob's here as well. If you want, put your hand up, Rob. If you want to talk to either of us about the programme and things like that. But yeah, GameTech365.com. Sign up. Cheers then. Thanks.
Thank you so much, Simon. And we can send out details if anyone is interested afterwards. Next up, we've got Julian. Do you want to come up, Julian? And Julian is a developer, mainly in VR, from Liverpool.
Okay.
Do you want to stand in the middle?
Stand in the middle. Hello. How long do I have? Very few. Very little bit. Okay.
You can choose either one. It's all
Right. Yeah. Okay, so I'm a coder in Godot. It's called Godot because it's actually named after the play. It's the open source games engine. If you don't want to use Unity or Unreal Engine, there is an alternative which is fully open source. The thing about open source is it's pretty much taken over most of the rest of the software world. If you have operating systems, databases, compilers, internet browsers and so forth, all that's open source, and it's about time it took over the games engines as well. And the thing about open source is also it doesn't have lots of managers and marketing departments, so you have to find it yourself if it's any good. And if anyone wants to use Godot and get some training on it or teaching, just come to me. I can show it off. I can even show it off here if you want. And I've been doing VR on it since about 2020. I think it's had VR in it since 2018. Facebook has fed a little bit of money in now and then so they can employ at least one programmer in the core team that's been doing it. And the thing about software development, particularly on this low level, is it's a function of time, not money. And so it just takes a lot of time to build it up in the same ways that Unity's had all those years of head start, and then they've blown it all with their wonderful management. This one here, it's recently just got a lot more funding by Facebook, so it's quite a serious thing. If anyone's a developer, just call me. I'm based in Liverpool, but I'm willing to travel to Manchester for anything like this. And I think that's about it, is it?
How can people get in touch with you?
Yeah, well, I'll hand out some cards and stuff, but you can find me on, well, if you just join, if you go to the Godot engine website, you can download it and run it straight away. It's a 43 megabyte download, that's it, not 430 megabytes or 4 gigabytes or something. You can run it on any laptop, even a phone or something, and it does everything as far as I can tell. There's no advantage to the other stuff. Contact me. I'm on GitHub under Goat Church Prime, but if you just join the Git Discord and ask for who's in Liverpool, you'll find me. But we should have some meetups or something. Okay.
Thank you. Amazing.
And next up, thank you so much, Julian. So anyone interested in a meetup, Julian's your man. And there are a few Godot people around that we've met on our travels. Next up, we've got the lovely Rob, who runs the wonderful VR Manchester. Has anyone ever been to VR Manchester? Yes, many of fans in the house.
Hello, yes, I'm Rob. I, for a little while, since 2016 or so, I've been running over here. Cameras, oh yeah, we don't have those at VR Manchester. I've been running the VR Manchester community, which is a semi-regular meetup where we meet in real life to talk about virtual reality. And we usually get a speaker and we have demos and all that other stuff. I've already talked to Julian about maybe coming and doing a Godot talk, which would be super cool. But if there's anybody else that's interested, got anything to share, if it's a demo, if it's an interesting talk, it's quite a loose crowd. It's not all like engineers. There are, hobbyists, gamers, people that are just literally walking past on the street and thought, oh, no, that sounds good. So it's a really, really, broad church. So anything you want to come and talk about that you think might be interesting, or if you want to get feedback. So the BBC brought they did the World Cup in 2018 in VR. They did it on PSVR. They did it on mobile as well. They actually brought that in and did all their user research or some user research at VR Manchester. And there was a guy from what is now Czechia that got to see his team score a goal live in VR. And it's that kind of like user research that is really, really hard to come by in VR. I'm sure a lot of you will know. So, long story short, we're VR Manchester on Twitter, or if you look for me on LinkedIn, I'm Rob Scott. Get in touch if you want to share something, and we will build an event around you even. We did that for the Meta developer folk. They visited Manchester a couple of months ago, and it was super successful. So if you've got something to share, let me know. I think that's it. Thanks.
Thank you, Rob. And next up, we've got Lydia from Lash Canvas. And Lydia is looking for a collaborator to work with in AR. And she's going to tell us what her pitch is. So if you can tell us a bit about what you do and what you're looking for.
Great, thank you so much. I don't have my pitch here, so I'm just going to share my story so you can get to know my idea and things like that. So I do content creation and user-generated content, and I've been looking into the AR and VR space and seeing how I could like merge the two within that industry as a freelancer. But then as I began to delve more into that, it became very interesting to me. So an AI app approached me to create some content for them. And I thought, why don't I take a picture of my lashes to see if I can get the exact type of lashes that I have on. So as I took the picture, a prompt came up and I had to filter out a little bit. And then Lily Lashes came up. But then I wasn't sure whether they would actually suit my eye shape or suit my face. So I abandoned the cart. Why did I want to get lashes? Well, my lash tech told me I had to take a break because my eyelashes are so fine and so thin. I still went ahead to do it anyway, but then my lashes fell out within a few days, which was a complete waste of money. And I think that's a real problem. A lot of people that do get their lashes done, their lashes are really becoming fine and really thin, and they want an alternative. And I think having like customized lashes for those type of people will definitely fix that problem. Another problem that there is that you can't try lashes on. If you try clothes on, you can return it if it's not a right fit. But with lashes, once you wear it, that's it, you've wasted your money. So that's when I came up with the concept Lash Canvas. So with Lash Canvas, you can try on lashes virtually online. So I need people that can help with like virtual reality, augmented reality, that sort of thing. And also I'm looking at speaking with investors at the moment. So we're currently at seed level at the moment. And it's not only just about the virtual reality, but also customization. So for example, the lashes that I have on now, I had to cut them down and trim them so that it would fit my exact eye shape. And I like to have a full volume cat eye look, which is what I've got on now. I also did a survey on my Instagram, and I did A versus B, letting me know which one looks like strip lashes and the other one that looks like individual lashes. I know a few people might be a bit lost, like what are you talking about right now? But like, for example, like, can you tell which side did I get my lashes done by a lash tech or the other side, are they strips? And 100% guessed them wrong, so I think I'm on the right track here. And I always get compliments on my lashes as well. So we want to provide that customization and that virtual try-on, and also be educational as well, so people will find out what kind of eye shape do I have, and then customizing the lashes to that. So that's the idea, Lash Canvas, and yeah. Yeah, so agencies that, are into 3D design. So basically it would be like a web application. I know on Shopify that there's a higher conversion rate now for augmented reality. People want to be able to try on beauty products. You have people like Chanel who have like virtual try-ons for lipsticks and stuff like that, but there isn't really anything for lashes. And so we're working on looking for agencies that specialize in like 3D design, augmented virtual reality, to bring that side of it to life. And also we're also looking for investors as well. Thank you.
And again, we can pass on everyone's details as well as Lydia's. Any last takers for? Yes, we've got one at the back. Okay. This will be our last lightning talk, unless there's any burning desires. If you're a bit shy, but you did want to say something, you can get in touch with us afterwards, and we'll send it out with all the info afterwards. Do you want to tell us your name? Yes. We'll come into the centre. Breaking all my own rules, going on the side.
That's okay. All right, so my name is Toba. I didn't really expect to come up here today, but I figured, I'm here, might as well. So me and my sister founded a little studio called Mismatch. It's like super recent. We literally started like a month ago, but essentially the main aim of it is to provide like 3D models of like characters and clothing to any studios who might need it in like their game development. So I know quite a lot of you here might develop in like Unreal Engine, Unity, there's Godot as well. And you know, I've just learned about a new framework, WebXR, seems really interesting, exciting. So if you're looking for like a character 3D model to help, you know, enrich your game's kind of like design, our studio can help to, you know, basically outsource that, lift that, you know, take some of that load off of your studio's kind of back. So that's what we do. That's like a little brief, you know, very, very, very brief kind of explanation of what we do. I'm looking forward to also learning more about your needs and stuff. We provide kind of optimized models that are ready to be used in VR and AR. I know, you know, a very key pain point is ensuring that your models are optimized and, you know, kind of don't have so many polygons that, you know, your whole game explodes, right? But yeah, I'm looking forward to speaking to quite a few of you after this and networking, and yeah, that's my pitch.
Thank you so much. Okay, so we're just going to open up for any questions for the speakers before we go to drinks and networking. Has anyone got any thoughts or any questions they have been burning to ask? Ah, right, we've got two. We've got Simon and we've got one over here. Simon, do you want to shoot?
I was just curious with the Vision Pro, is there any setup configuration of the spaces required at all like you get with Quest, or is it completely, does it just know?
So when I'm using it, there's no setup. It just looks at my eyes and I'm straight in the room. No, with the room, it's scanning it total. It's scanning it using the sensors at the bottom and kind of creating this canvas for you to work on in real time, I guess. The only thing there is when Apple's quite restrictive. When you want a guest to use it, you have to do a sort of 3 to 4 minute setup with their hands, their eyes. We did it earlier, didn't we, Caroline? And you just look at dots and pinch and it sort of calibrates with you. So it's a bit clunky to use with other people. So yeah.
We've just got one question over here. Immersify, yeah.
The thing I was most excited about with mixed reality was the potential for a collaborative visual space, a cooperative visual space, if you were. But I've not heard anything about this. Is it something that's built into the tech, or is it coming, or do you know anything about that?
So they have this thing, you've probably all seen these creepy personas online. You can scan your face, and when you go on FaceTime, you see if I'm wearing the headset, you see a representation of me. It doesn't look that great, kind of looks like a video game character, but you can get expressions and stuff and tell who it is. They've just released something called Spatial Personas, where we can all, like, if you also had a Vision Pro and another person had a Vision Pro, we could see each other's personas in a space and work around a screen. So I've not actually tried it yet myself because I don't have any other. If anyone else knows anyone with a Vision Pro, I want to call someone and try it. But from what I've seen the videos on Twitter or X, as it's called now, it looks really cool. You can play chess against each other. You can work around a canvas on all the different apps. So it looks like it's coming. It's just not quite adopted yet.
Brilliant. Anyone else got any questions? There was one or two tentatives. Okay. Gentleman here.
Hiya. I work in, I develop assistive technologies, and I love all this sort of advancing technology. But the one thing that I always notice with this sort of cutting edge stuff is they don't always think about the accessibility of the technology. So what work is being done on that, or how is that? Is that in the forefront of your thinking? Because from what I can see, it usually isn't, and it's usually something that's tagged on the bottom end. Be interested to know what people think about that.
Does anyone want to take that? Simon. Oh, go on, Simon.
Yeah, I've done a lot of design work in this space, thinking about the device side of things. I think the big thing to note really is that fundamentally, things like mixed reality, augmented reality, virtual reality, they are defining a whole new human-computer interaction paradigm from the outset. And I think that what you probably find is predominantly by doing that, they'll put all the focus on this new interface, and often you don't necessarily have a clear picture about what the assistive needs are going to be when you're doing something very new. We found certain things, like when we were doing virtual reality, we'd just done stereoscopic 3D, for example, you know, like the 3D cinema stuff. And when we did virtual reality, we found that it actually completely eradicated our biggest issue we had with stereoscopic 3D, which was anyone who suffered from stereoscopic vision issues or was even stereo blind or had one eye weaker than the other. That was probably 10% of the population suffered with that when they were trying to enjoy stereoscopic 3D. But in virtual reality, we practically didn't have that issue at all. So we're expecting that same issue to be the primary addressable issue to this interface, but actually it was completely nullified because head tracking meant that people who already used mechanisms to get around that issue, like for example moving the head side to side to gain parallax to appreciate depth, that completely went away. So it's almost like when they bring these new interfaces to the table, I think there's a big maturation time in terms of figuring out where the assistive problems actually lie. They're already using virtual reality quite commonly now in places like hospices and old people's homes and things like that, because they're finding that people can escape from where they are in the space and maybe be in France all of a sudden just by putting what is effectively a hat on someone's head, and then they just turn around and look around and it all just kind of works. Whereas trying to get someone who's in an old people's home to use game technology and controllers could be quite complicated. So I think this whole area is still being discovered. So I think there will be a big point in time when a lot of the assistive side of things comes in, but I think they're just trying to figure out the basic interface to start with. This idea about using pinch gestures, you know, how's that going to work? They don't necessarily know whether that's going to be something that after a while makes your fingers ache because it's not mature enough. So that's how I'd answer that question.
Oh, and one question. Oh, you want to respond to that? Yeah. Yeah, sure. This is Jimmy again.
Sorry, it's a very minor point, but the thing that I was really, really excited about the Apple Vision Pro was that it responds to the eye tracking. So like in terms of accessibility, being able to interact with content without even actually, I mean, it would require a small update, but like being able to interact with your gaming environment just simply by looking and blinking is absolutely groundbreaking as far as I'm concerned. And the fact it's just responding to very small interactions like a pinch, and it could be adapted to something else like, you know, a tap of the foot or something else like that. It's really, really making this, it's very, very accessible. And then when you consider the implications of other technologies like Elon Musk's Neuralink thing, where it's just like you can have this really rich interactive experience and you might just need to think of it clicking or some sort of interaction, I think it's becoming increasingly more accessible. Anyway.
Hello everyone, I'm Anthony Hatton. I've got the pleasure of leading this team and the programme. I'm delighted accessibility has been picked up because there are so many conversations we're having with people who are talking about accessibility. If you're interested in that area, can you come and talk to me? We want to get a workshop together. There are clearly different areas in this space that we're talking about today. Earlier in the room was Nigel, who leads Fuzzy Duck, and the work that he does in immersive experience is fundamentally different if you're taking people into an interactive educational environment, or in his case, live family experiences. He's working with Brighton Castle at the moment. He's done the Eureka work. So we often have those kind of conversations in our community, and we want to bring that together as a topic that we try and work on together in this kind of space, but also in the physical environment space as well. So if you've got that kind of interest, if you can come and talk to me afterwards, that'd be great.
Great. Thank you all very much for your rapt attention. So that wraps us up for the talks, but we have some brilliant demos happening at the back of the room. So Jimmy has a wealth of treasures to try. It's going to be inundated. And also those of you that have signed up for the Apple Vision Pro as well. So thank you very much. And if you just want to drink beer and chat, you can do that also. So you can make your way out there, and we have plenty of time. And really, we're hoping that this is the first of many, and that it really is about just responding to what people want to come to. So let us know what you'd like more of or less of, and we would love to do it again. So thank you for coming from all of us.